Did Jose Aldo really lose, or was it a clear robbery? Today we're diving into one of the most controversial decisions in MMA this year. We'll look at the strikes, takedowns, and overall control. Was the result fair, or did the judges miss something crucial? Aldo is a legend in the sport, and a loss like this has serious implications for his career moving forward. We'll discuss what this fight means for his future. Stay tuned because we've got all the reactions and insights you need to understand why people are calling this one of the biggest robberies in recent MMA history. All the information mentioned in this video comes directly from the official Forbes website, ensuring the facts are accurate and trustworthy. Fans are outraged about Jose Aldo's loss to Mario Bautista at UFC 307 because many believe the decision was unfair, especially considering how the fight played out. Aldo lost by split decision, with one judge scoring the fight in his favor and two judges giving it to Bautista. This outcome sparked immediate backlash from the MMA community, with fans and even fighters speaking out on social media, calling the decision a robbery. The frustration stems from how the fight unfolded. According to many observers, Aldo clearly won the second and third rounds, which should have secured him the victory. He landed more significant strikes than Bautista in the later rounds and had a higher strike accuracy across all three rounds. Fans expected that Aldo's superior striking and control in the final two rounds would sway the judges in his favor. However, that didn't happen. One of the key issues that angered fans was Bautista's strategy during the fight. Despite failing to secure any of his 10 takedown attempts, Bautista spent a significant amount of time pressing Aldo against the fence without causing much damage. He wasn't actively striking or attempting submissions, which made it frustrating to watch. Many, including those in the arena, felt Bautista's strategy was passive and did not deserve to be rewarded with a win. The lack of action led to boos from the crowd, showing their displeasure with Bautista's approach. From a statistical standpoint, Aldo's performance was superior in terms of striking, which is often a key factor in how judges score fights. Yet the judges seemed to give more weight to Bautista's control, despite it being ineffective in terms of offense. This raised questions about how the fight was judged and whether the scoring criteria were applied fairly. Control without damage or submission attempts is usually not enough to win a fight, which is why so many fans and analysts were left scratching their heads over the decision. Adding to the controversy, several well-known figures in the MMA world voiced their opinions, calling the result unjust. Renato Moicano, a lightweight contender, kept his reaction brief, labeling the fight a robbery. Verdict MMA, which collects scores from users online, also had Aldo winning 2 of the 3 rounds, reflecting the general sentiment among fans that Aldo should have been the victor. Even Conor McGregor, one of Aldo's former opponents, chimed in, criticizing the referee's reluctance to separate the fighters when Bautista was stalling against the cage. The fight went the full 3 rounds, with all 3 judges scoring the bout 29-28. This means that all judges agreed that one fighter won 2 of the 3 rounds. Judge Chris Lee scored the fight in favor of Aldo, while Derek Cleary and Mike Bell gave it to Bautista. The fact that one judge sided with Aldo while the other 2 gave Bautista the win is where the split decision came from. For Aldo supporters, this was frustrating, as they felt that the majority of the fight was controlled by Aldo, especially in the second and third rounds. Many observers, including those who watched the fight closely and analyzed the statistics, argue that Aldo did enough to win the fight based on his striking. In the second and third rounds, Aldo outlanded Bautista in significant strikes, which is often a crucial factor in determining the winner of a fight. Aldo also had a higher striking accuracy across all 3 rounds, which many believed should have been enough to sway the decision in his favor. However, despite these numbers, Bautista was given the win on the strength of what the judges saw as control. This is where the controversy really kicks in. Bautista did not land any takedowns during the fight. He missed all 10 of his attempts. However, he spent much of the fight pressing Aldo against the fence, which is what the judges seemed to reward. Even though Bautista wasn't landing many strikes or doing significant damage while controlling Aldo against the fence, 2 of the judges gave him the edge because of this. Fans and analysts, on the other hand, argue that control without damage or significant offensive output shouldn't be enough to win a fight. The UFC's scoring system is based on a set of criteria that include effective striking, grappling, aggression, and octagon control. In this fight, Bautista clearly won in terms of octagon control, as he was able to keep Aldo pinned against the cage for portions of the fight. However, Aldo's fans point out that control alone shouldn't outweigh the fact that Aldo outstruck Bautista in the significant moments of the fight and did more damage overall. This has led to a broader discussion about how judges weigh control versus damage when scoring MMA fights. It's essential to acknowledge that Aldo's legacy as a pioneer and one of the most successful fighters in MMA history is already cemented. His reign as the UFC featherweight champion, coupled with multiple title defenses, makes him a Hall of Fame caliber athlete. However, this recent loss to Bautista, particularly under controversial circumstances, brings new challenges as fans and analysts look at his final years in the sport. Aldo is no longer in his prime, and losses like this one can be hard to bounce back from, especially at this stage. While Aldo's fans and many within the MMA community still view him as one of the best, the reality is that fighters approaching the twilight of their careers have a limited window to remain competitive at the highest levels. This loss could potentially limit his chances of contending for another title, particularly in the highly competitive bantamweight division. Additionally, there's a psychological component to consider. Fighters often speak about how close and controversial losses can be difficult to recover mentally. Aldo has always been a warrior, but enduring a loss that many feel should have been a win could affect his mindset as he moves forward. Will he use this as fuel to come back stronger, or will this loss signal the beginning of the end for his time in the sport? Despite all of this, Aldo's legacy is unlikely to be tarnished in any significant way by this one loss. Fighters of his stature are often remembered for their prime years, and Aldo's dominance in the featherweight division will always be a cornerstone of his legacy. However, how he handles this moment and what comes next will determine whether his later years in MMA are seen as a continuation of his greatness or a gradual decline. Jose Aldo's controversial loss to Mario Bautista has left fans with a lot of strong opinions. Many believe Aldo should have won, but the split decision didn't go his way. While it's a tough pill to swallow, it doesn't change the fact that Aldo is a legend in the sport. This fight raises questions about what's next for him. Can he come back stronger, or is this a sign that his career is winding down? No matter what happens next, one thing is for sure. Aldo's legacy is far from over, and his journey in the octagon is always worth watching. So, stay tuned for more updates and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the latest news, fight breakdowns, and reactions. This story isn't over yet.